between sorry, thank you very much, Karen, for recording this. So just for a reference for everybody and for quality and improvement purposes, we are recording this video. So again, we are here in a roundtable discussion, and my name is Carissa, and I'm one of the nurse educators from Nursing Education and Training Australia. So we'll be discussing about the OBA pathway, what is the conversion program, and what is this compared to the outcome-based assessment, and the Australian borders. When will this open? Because I know that there are a few of you here who are actually from overseas and are really very keen to come to Australia to proceed with their Oski. So let's start with the outcome-based assessment process. So just a very quick overview. We do have another video of this one. And if you are the person who would like to know the process of the outcome-based assessment for Stream B candidates, we will have another conversation with you. It's just a very brief overview of what it is and how does it look like. So the first one is if you are an overseas registered nurse and you would like to know your process as to how you're going to become a registered nurse in Australia, the first thing that you need to do is your self-check. So after your self-check, if you are considered a Stream B candidate, majority of the overseas nurses, specifically in Philippines, Nepal, India, we do have students from Italy, we do have students from Southeast Asia and majority of the Asian countries. You will be undergoing your outcome-based assessment, which would include your step 4, which is the MCQ, and your step 5, which is your Oski. And we in NETA do provide step 4 and step 5. If you, step 4 and step 5 preparation course. So if you are keen to do your pathway in Australia, please do contact us, because as we said, we won't be doing any marketing at this stage. It is purely a help of information to all of these students who are confused, concerned about their pathway. So this is another conversation. The next one is our conversion program. So just feel free to ask questions, just feel free to clarify, or if you have any other ideas from the group, please feel free to use the chat box as well. This is just a table that would show the difference, and you probably would not hear this from your agents. And I do respectfully, respectfully agree with agents as well who are asking students to go to the conversion program due to the pandemic. But these are the things that you should also know about the conversion program. So let's start with the time. So you look into the time with the outcome-based assessment. With the pandemic, we do have students who completed the whole process within 9 months. We do have students who completed the process within 12 months. And that is because they are from high-risk areas like Sydney, for example, and they were not able to join or they were not able to get the seat because of the lockdown. So you can see here that the outcome-based assessment without the pandemic probably would last for about 6 months. So 3 months of preparation for your 3 months of preparation for your Nclex probably. And while you are waiting for your Oski, that's probably another 2 to 3 months of preparation. So that would be about 6 months in total. We've put an additional of about 3 months here variable, because there are times probably when you won't pass Nclex, or say you need to wait for another seat for Oski. And so we've put a variable of 9 months. Without the pandemic, it will take you about 6 to 9 months of process. With the pandemic, we do have students who completed the process for 8 to 9 months. Who are already here in Australia. But we need to watch this space, because what will happen, which is very interesting in my next few slides, is that there is hope for overseas nurses once we reach the vaccination target for Australia. The conversion program is 1 year of full-time study. So you can see here the difference between how much time are you going to spend. And this is full-time, while your outcome-based assessment is self-paced. And there might be some days where you need to come and do the guided program. So wherein you have to sit down in the class for 2 hours, for example, for one day. For our Nclex, we do 2 hours every Wednesdays. So it's not full-time study, and obviously it's only 2 hours in a week's time. And the rest is self-paced. So you can do it at your own pace. And I know that we are all adults here, so we are all working. We have other priorities as well set in place. And I think the self-pace is quite attractive for those who are very busy. So that's the difference between time, between the conversion and the OBA. Then we've got the delivery. So for the outcome-based assessment, and I'm basing this on how we deliver, there are other providers as well, and this is just based on how NETA delivers it. So we do deliver our online classes for Nclex, and our Oski is majority of the classes are online, and you do have 2 days of two sets of 5 days of face-to-face. That means 10 days face-to-face. And we do have dry run sessions as well that you'll have a one-on-one session with your educator, and you'll be going to different stations as well. So we do that also. And we also have briefing and debriefing sessions to make you ready for your Oski. So these are the guided times where you really have to be present as well. So for your conversion, it is more of face-to-face because it is delivered on campus. And with the pandemic at the moment, it's quite challenging because you also do this online with few other placements and some face-to-face. So business as usual, conversion will be face-to-face and also a few of them online. For your entry requirement, so if you would like to have or to go through the OBA, at the moment, you don't need your English test. So you can take your English test at any time before your registration process, which if you look into the previous slide, which is here in step 6. So for your OBA, you can do your English test, either you're in step 1 or in step 2, step 3, during your MCQ, during your Oski, or afterwards prior to applying for registration. So that is your entry. For the entry requirement, you don't need an English test. For your conversion program, you require an English test, and you need to have your English test prior to getting admission. So at the moment, if you look into some universities, they accept an English test of 6 for the conversion program. But why would you get a 6 if during the registration phase you need a 7? So you don't want to spend your anxiety, another time, another review, another money just to get your English test of 7 again. So it is your goal that prior to enrolling to the conversion program, you need to have an English test of 7. So you don't have to retake the exam. Okay, so that is the difference between OBA and conversion when it comes to your entry requirement. For your cost, there are some of you who did your Nclex on your own, some of you who's done your Nclex with the help of a preparation course. So it will vary. So your preparation course will be 5,000 if you are looking into the preparation of Nclex and Oski, and your exam cost is about 4,500. So the 4,000, there is your Oski. The 500 is a conversion, so it's approximately $500 depending on the US dollar rates, but this is the $500 conversion of your 350 USD for your Nclex. So approximately the whole process, if you'll go through a preparation, you will be spending about 9,500. If you are going to a conversion program, you'll be spending about $30,000. So you can see the difference there of the cost. For the anxiety, because I know that this is what we're going to face, and majority of, and let's accept this, majority of us are choosing the conversion program because we are anxious to take the exam. So your anxiety for your OBA is you're going to give it a shot. twice only. So you'll have that heightened anxiety for exam that's only twice, and that's only few hours. So if you look into your Nclex, say you finish your Nclex in 4 to 5 hours, your anxiety probably there would be, say, 15 minutes before you start. And then your Oski, which runs for 2 hours, your anxiety there is probably 15 minutes as well of that heightened anxiety. So you will experience the anxiety, and let's accept it. It is an exam. Who does not get anxious of a regulatory exam? And it will be there. So brave souls, you need to just close your eyes and do it, because it is there and it will be there. So that is your anxiety, and that's just twice. For your conversion program, you'll have 1 year, and that's a full time of study. So you'll have the anxiety for the rest of the year. And why would you say you've got the anxiety there? Because you'll get your assessments, you'll get your test, and you'll get quizzes, you'll get your demonstrations. And if you look into that, it is still a standard NMBA course. So obviously, whatever you will be doing in your conversion program is equally important as how you will be doing your OBA. So you will still go through rigorous assessments, exams, essays, which falls on the level of work and assessment, which is on the next row. So you'll have multiple exams, you'll have assessments, which is your essays. And I've been to a university in Australia as well. You'll have different types of essays. Some are 1,500 words, 2,500 words. And it's not as easy as we think, because the level of English, as you would see there, is necessary for you to be able to express your thoughts. So in your assessments, and then you've got assignments, you've got simulation also, and you've got Oski as well. So why do Oski on top of other kinds of assessments? Okay, and then you'll get your competency-based assessments also of all of the skills. In Oski, you only have 10 skills for you to pass. So the level of work and assessments in an OBA is your 2 exams that would last approximately 2 to 4 hours for Nclex and 2 hours for your Oski. So that's the level of work. Job opportunity. I think this is quite important, because at the end, what we really want to be is to get a job. That's the reason why we want to become a registered nurse. So for job opportunity, when you are doing an OBA, you will get the level of an RN based on your previous experience. So if you are a registered nurse for 4 years overseas, when you become a registered nurse in Australia, they will credit your experience and you'll become an RN4. We do have a student who's had 4 years of experience in Nepal, and now she's working as a registered nurse in Newcastle in New South Wales, and she was given RN5 because the amount of hours that she worked in Nepal was actually more than the amount of a full-time work in Australia. So in Australia, full-time work here is 38 hours a week, while in Nepal, we have 40 to even sometimes 50 hours a week. In the Philippines, it's the same thing. You've got overtime and you've got other jobs as well. So the number of your experience, the number of hours of your experience will be counted when you do your OBA. So you probably would enter as a year 8 RN, or a year 7 RN, or a year 2 RN. In a conversion program, and this is something that you have not heard from your agencies, because I do respect that they don't really know, or maybe they know but not have the full grasp, but you will be doing a new graduate program. And the reason why Netta and myself would know about the new graduate program, because I used to be a new graduate educator and coordinator, and I do hire and recruit new graduate nurses. So the new grad program, if you do the conversion course, if you have, say, 7 years of experience in the Philippines and you do the conversion program, then you'll go back as an RN1. No doubt, because you have finished the conversion program and your award there is a Bachelor's of Nursing equivalent to the Australian bachelors. So you will be going through a new grad program in RN1, and I'll show you the difference of salary as well later on. Your salary there is as per award, and I'll show that to you later on. Another thing about the new grad program is your job opportunity. So I'm not sure if you're aware about a new grad program, but when you finish your university studies in a conversion, you do have, you know, the new grad program, the new grad application. So the new grad application is based on different priorities as well. So if you are a permanent resident or a citizen of Australia, then you will be in the priority 1 section. Okay, so if you do the conversion program and then you graduate from the conversion program and you are an Australian citizen or a permanent resident, then you will be you will be in the priority 1 selection. So if you are not, then you'll be in the priority 3 selection. Okay, and what does this mean? This year, there is an approximate of 5,000 graduates of bachelors of nursing in the universities, and there are about 2,500 new graduate positions. So therefore, we have an excess of about 2,500. So all of the Australian citizens and permanent residents were selected according to their scores as well. So even if you're a permanent resident and an Australian citizen, but you did not do a very good interview, then you will not get selected also. Okay, but if you've done extremely well in your interview, then obviously you will also get the position. If you go through metropolitan areas like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast, what else, ACT, there will be a lot of competition. Okay, so you need to be the cream of the crop, the best of the best, to be able to get that position. If there are say for example, there's about 1 to 2% of people who get selected in the new grad program, but then they fell pregnant, they have to go back overseas because their parents probably would need them or the family need them, or they decided not to continue to the program because they just realized that nursing is not for them. Or they become sick, they become ill, and so we go back to the priority 1 who still did not get the position, and there are still about 2,000 of them as a choice. What I'm trying to say here is that if you're in the priority 3, you have the least and the minimal chance of getting the position of a new grad program. Okay, and that is through if you go through the conversion program. So again, when it comes to job opportunity, there's a very slim chance for you to be able to get the job as a new grad nurse. And that's the reason why you probably would have heard those people who graduated in a university for bachelors of nursing, they find it so hard to find a job. They ended up in agency, doing job or shift works. Some of them have to extend their visa. They're still on student visa, only working 20 hours a week, and so many other stories. Okay, so I know them personally who's done this because as a new grad coordinator previously, and I did hire new graduate nurses, I feel and I hear these nurses, and these are the people who did bachelors of nursing and the conversion program. Let's go to your salary. So if you work as a registered nurse through the conversion program, you go through your first year. Okay, whether you have 7 years of experience back in the Philippines or in Nepal or wherever you are in the world, you will go back to the first year salary because you did the conversion program. So let's go to the hourly rate because that is the clearest of the picture. So if you are a first year RN, you'll get $33 per hour. If you go through the OBA process and then you are 7 years of RN, you'll get $44. So just imagine you have 7 years of experience. You go through the conversion, instead of getting 44, you'll get 33. And what's the difference it makes? It makes about $300, $400 difference per week. And that's a big money, isn't it? So it is your choice now to choose between OBA and conversion. And obviously, there are pros and cons of these two different pathways, but you need to choose what is best for you, for your family, for your pathway, because you know that when there's OBA, probably the anxiety and the effort that you put in there is a skyrocket, but then you settle straight away. Well, in the conversion program, you have that prolonged agony and anxiety, and then you'll end up being a new grad nurse, which is quite difficult as well. But obviously there are, again, I said there are pros and cons, but this is just a fact that I am showing because I know that there are so many conversations around it, and I think you deserve to have the right information. Our next topic is all about, and guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to just interrupt me. This is a roundtable discussion, or please feel free to put it in the chat. So I know that there are a few questions. We will attend to that after your after this Australian phases in living with COVID-19. So I know that it is a pandemic, and when we say pandemic, everybody in the whole wide world has been affected. So I hear your suffering. I hear the agony of nurses, but also we have agonies of builders. We have agonies of hospitality people who lost their jobs. We have agony of people who's trying to buy houses. We have agony of people who wants to come here. Agony of engineering people. And it's just all across the board of all industries. So we are not alone. Everybody is actually affected with this pandemic. And I know that there has been conversations of petitions and media, people wanting to put, opera in the media and things like that. And I hear that. I'm really touched by the immense work that overseas nurses are putting in there. But we are here in NETA to actually give the positivity for everybody. So it is something that everybody is facing at the moment. It is something that you as a registered nurse will be faced as well with different problems. And I think the best way moving forward is to solve a problem proactively. Okay, so there are different phases in Australia, and I know that you've heard about this, and a few of you have done the research. So we're currently in the phase A, which our majority of the target for the Australian government is to get everybody vaccinated. It is already a national emergency. We cannot stop the virus now from spreading, so we have to live with COVID. And I think that is the whole world doing it. UK, Canada, even Philippines, Nepal, everybody's living with the virus now. But for Australia to move forward and COVID safe, they are giving out this incentive to people. So when the population reaches to 70%, being vaccinated, then this is a time where there will be a bit of freedom within Australia. Okay, there are still rules that we still have a lot of guidelines to follow, but there's a bit of freedom in there. But when we reach to the 80% of fully vaccinated Australians and people in Australia, then that's a time that Australia actually opens her borders for the wider, for the whole world. Okay, so there is also that risk assessment that they take. So they take the assessment from the country where you're from, but also they will consider your vaccination. If you're fully vaccinated, when did you get the vaccination, and your quarantine period. And I know that people overseas are willing to be in quarantine for as long as they can come and do their Oski, which is reasonable. So I'm just going to share to you, because obviously you will be asking, okay, 70%, 80%, where is Australia at the moment? So I've just downloaded a report, and this is from today. So this report is from, sorry, not from today, from yesterday. They haven't released a report from today. So from yesterday, it says here that there has been, sorry, this data is from the 31st of August, but they have reported this yesterday. So 12 million of Australians have at least one dose of the vaccine. That's about 59.6%. And you can see that in the next, so for Pfizer, it's about 3 weeks of wait. And for AstraZeneca, it usually is 3 months, but they're now considering from 8 weeks to from 2 months, they can get their vaccine. So let's say within the next 2 to 3 months, this 60% will actually get vaccinated. We are close to the 70. But New South Wales, for example, who's got the biggest daily vaccination, has majority of, there's about 120,000 people getting vaccinated every day. So we will reach that target. And the target is actually by November that we will reach the 80% of full dose vaccination. Obviously, in November, when there's like 80%, yay, 80% of full dose, Australia will not open straight away. They will do a lot of risk assessments, but there is hope there. November is fast approaching. Even to the worst, it's going to be December. So next year, there is hope for people to actually come here, but with certain conditions. So that's through your vaccination, through your quarantine, the condition where you're from, which country you're from, they will do health assessment, for example. So there are other risk factors that they will be considering, but there is definitely hope. So you can see here that this is the percentage of vaccination rate. So you can see that from, say, for example, from 32%, it went up to 59%. So you can see how fast the rate of the vaccination increases. So we will say that when we hit the 80%, the next phase is actually opening the borders. And that means that you actually would have the chance, and there is a solution to the problem. Let's have an open discussion, because I know that there will be a lot of questions about it. Shall we start from the chat, or is there any question? Please feel free to raise your question. We're listening. And Karen, if you have additional information, please feel free to butt in. Thank you. Karen, if you're talking, you're probably
yes, hi, Teresa. I think we covered everything basically. We just have some questions from students in the chat box, and yes, there are heaps of them. One of them is from Grace. How long does it take before they give Oski dates?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Karen. I'm opening that chat box at the moment. Okay, so let's go through the chat box. So Grace, how long does it take before they give Oski date? And a smiley face there. Yes, because I hope I have the crystal ball as well to actually tell you the answer. So at the moment, the very honest answer there is I don't know. The reason why I don't know is because I can't speak in behalf of APRA. So the Oski date is depending as well as to where you are at the moment. So we do have students who are actually in South Australia and who has been given the dates of November, or they did not have any dates at all. But because South Australia is they are not accepting people from New South Wales and Victoria. So the people from South Australia actually got the Oski test date straight away. So if you are from, say, Brisbane or from Queensland, where, they say clean Queenslanders, so obviously you can get your test date as well. The best thing there for you is if you have your test date and you are in Australia and you're from a state where there's no no evidence or no significant cases of COVID, please feel free to message APRA and say, I'm from Queensland or I'm from Tasmania and I don't have my test date, but I'm willing to take Oski as soon as possible. For those who are in Sydney and in Melbourne or in ACT who's currently on lockdown, and South Australia is being very careful about people going in there, the best way for you is to get vaccinated. And I think I'm not here as well to speak about APRA, but I am certain that if you would like to become a registered nurse, you need to get vaccination anyway. So get vaccinated, and hopefully moving forward, the whole Australian government will implement the rule that if you have vaccination, you'll have more freedom. So as New South Wales has implemented that, so as Victoria has implemented that. Another thing is probably check with APRA on how they're able to help you get your examination, get your entry to South Australia. They will be able to help you if you ask for support. So maybe, and do it in a proactive way. If I am the manager and the way that the email is sent is through petitions or through a reactive way, the way I would help would be very different if you are humble enough to ask for help. Okay, so if you are proactive, you will get a better help than being reactive. So try to just say to APRA that, I would like to seek for your support because I am very willing to take my Oski. South Australia is not accepting us at the moment, for example. So then check whether or not they're able to help you. So I hope I answered that. Anybody who has information to share about in relation to Grace's question? And Grace, did I answer your question? Maybe you're on mute, Grace, but you can type. There is another question here. Hi, you have a very helpful comparison table for Oski and conversion. Is it possible to give us an estimation for visa and flight for Oski exam? An estimation for visa and flight, is that with a cost? So I'm looking to the cost. The flight probably would be about 1,500 at the moment. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into the flight, but feel free to Google the flight for your visa. So the different visas that you are able to get. So NETA is not allowed to give visa advice, but I can tell you based on the experience that I have. So majority of the visas for your Oski exam would probably be a tourist business stream visa, where it allows you to take trainings and exams for less than 3 months. So that is the best way. It is a multiple entry as well. So once you finish your 3 months, if you want to go back to your home country, that's fine. If you don't, if you have other plans, then that's the time that you seek help from the Department of Immigration. It is for 1 year. There are people here who have family members, so definitely you can come here to take your Oski, go back to your family for 6 weeks time. You'll get your result, and in 2 months time, it's never black and white, but it's between 1 to 2 months or 3 months, you will get your registration. And then that's a time that you can also come back to us, because if you are our student, we have an employment support where we also help you with the job. And we do have different partners of different facilities that offer sponsorship. So that is an option for you. And once you finish your Oski, you get registered, and then we have an employment support. It is not guaranteed that you'll get the job because you still need to go through an interview process and the recruitment process. So even if we say, yes, you are very good, but then it ended up that you are a criminal, and I hope not, but you're a criminal back home. So obviously you still can't get the position. So we don't guarantee the position because you still have to go through the recruitment process. But we are here to help you with the job, like job opportunities, I would say. If you need sponsorship, we are able to negotiate that with the facility as well, because they are in dire need of skilled nurses, specifically ICU, theater, dialysis, those special areas, and emergency department. And if you're willing to be trained, there is no problem with that as well. So by the time that you get that, then probably you will have a different visa option. So it's either your sponsorship visa, or depending on where you are, it could be a regional sponsorship visa as well, or it could be a training visa, which NETA is on the process of applying. So we can also help you with that one. So I think visa options wise, the best person to contact, or the best agency to contact, is the Department of Home Affairs. But obviously what I'm sharing is based on my experience. And I hope I answered that question. Harman, what are the requirements for conversion, and which universities allow overseas to give 2 years credits for Bachelor of Nursing? That is something that I do not know, and maybe you can go through the website of different universities if you would like to do the conversion program. But hopefully, and I also know that Harman did come a bit late, if you also have seen the difference between the conversion and the OBA, hopefully you'll make an informed decision. And that's the one that I'm sharing in my screen right now. Hopefully you can make an informed decision of what pathway you're going to take. Then we've got another question. Sumita, will the NGO experience count as experience in Australia? Sumita, I'd like to seek more information. Is it non-government organization experience? Sumita, you are on mute. Maybe we'll go back to that question if I just wanted to seek clarification. If it's a non-government organization experience, but still nursing experience, yes, it will still count. But if it is not a nursing experience, definitely it wouldn't count. And it should be an experience that you have after getting the registration as a nurse. The next question. Whether you're under OBA or conversion, would you be allowed to enter Australia now? So now I would say no, but with the 80% rollout, and hopefully, because so this is still, and this can happen. I mean, there can be variances. So they say that the target for the 80% is November. But again, it depends on the hands of people, whether or not they will reach that target. Okay, so if you're in Australia, let's do our work. Let's be part of the count. Book your vaccination straight away, because it will help. If you think like, oh no, I'm scared of AstraZeneca, or I don't really like to be vaccinated, you will still get it anyway if you're trying to become a registered nurse, because you cannot work without your vaccination. So you better get it now. And if you don't want to get the AstraZeneca, I would really encourage you to go through studies about it. I know a lot of people in my workplace and my family who's had AstraZeneca. The only reason why I did not have AstraZeneca is because I'm breastfeeding. And so I had Pfizer, but my husband did AstraZeneca. My best friends had AstraZeneca and they're still alive. So reconsider that. But yes, you cannot enter Australia right now, but the process of entering to Australia anyway will take time. So better do your process now before it gets too late. By the time that Australia will say by February or March that we are open and you haven't decided yet of what pathway you're going to take, then, you know, it's going to be a bit late as well for you. Another question, is Nclex AU and Nclex US exam similar? Not similar, they're the same. So we don't say Nclex AU, Nclex US anymore. It's just Nclex. Canada, France, Italy, there are so many countries who's actually adapting Nclex now. And the only difference is that the materials that you will be using. So there are still a lot of books that are US based. Obviously, Nclex will not be asking you US based anymore, such as triage system, for example. The triage system in US is so different in Australia, and they won't be asking you that. The level of question that Nclex will be asking is a safety. So whatever you see in your textbook that is generic, that's what's going to be asked. So there is no such thing as Nclex AU, Nclex US, Nclex Canada, Nclex France. It's only Nclex. So it's a National Council licensure examination, which is adapted by so many countries already. Do you know pass rates for Oski? I actually attended one. It's also like a roundtable discussion with APRA. They're not allowed to talk about pass rates of Oski yet with APRA. And that was the CEO herself who said that they're not allowed to say that yet. And I do understand why, because it's a very new process. And if you look into the pass rates, it's per 100 because you're talking about the rate, which is percentage. So it is too early days to say the pass rates, but definitely you might ask if majority of the test takers pass. I cannot say that as well in behalf of all the Oski takers, but for NETA, and I know there's no marketing here, it just came up as a question. So for NETA, we have majority of our students pass. And if you look into the students who pass, they're the ones who actually followed our program. And to those who did not, we acknowledge that they haven't really follow the program. And you know, as adult learners, you are there and you're motivated enough. It's a $4,000 fee. So we are really looking into students reconsidering if they're not yet ready to follow our preparation program. But definitely, I would say majority, close to all, did pass our program. So I hope, Marcus, I did answer that question. And Karen, if you have anything else to add, because I know Karen is the one who's very, who's in close contact with Oski students.
Yeah, that's totally correct, Carissa. What you've mentioned, I could vouch of the number of passers with Meta. Thank you.
Then there's another question here. How about overseas candidates? How long does it take to be given exam date after passing Nclex? So for overseas candidates, I know that at the moment, the ones that are given priority for Oski test dates are those that are in low risk areas such as Tasmania, Western Australia, what else, Northern Territory, Queensland. I'm just recalling all the states, and South Australia. So those in ACT, New South Wales and Melbourne, their test dates have been deferred by APRA, but I am very sure, and I cannot speak in behalf of APRA, but this is my own opinion, that when we reach the vaccination rate, things are going to be different. So I would say that those people who've got the vaccination and the vaccination with different other rules and guidelines in place, you can take your test. So, and this is my own opinion, I cannot speak for APRA, but I know that when there is 80% of vaccination rate, as per the Australian government's plan, there will be changes and we will be living with COVID. And I hope I did answer that, Grace. Is there any specific state where they do conversion program, or is it available in every state? That I don't really know about conversion program. We do give the OBA preparation, and the only reason why I've touched conversion course is because of the different questions raised by different students about conversion program. So the best way, if you really want to do the conversion program, do 1 year, spend 30,000, do your English test first, go through multiple assessments plus Oski and your simulation assignments and essays, and become a new graduate nurse with level 1 pay. Definitely do a research. There should be information in, say, Google, which is our best friend. And I hope I did answer that question, Seema. Does NETA provide conversion program? No, we do not provide conversion program. It is a program that is provided by universities. You may enter once you get exemption from Australian Border Force. That's correct, Karen. What if I got Sinovac as my vaccine? Would I still be able to enter Australia? Something that we don't know at the moment. What I know is that if you are fully vaccinated and you can show a certificate that you are vaccinated, there will be different rules for you when you enter Australia. So something that probably Mika, if you keep updated, we will also tell marketing to actually update our Facebook page. To those of you who haven't followed our Facebook page yet, please do follow, because we will be putting updates there as well as to vaccination, opening of borders, and things like that, just so everybody will be also, get updated and be informed. So with Sinovac, I am not sure really. Something that will probably come out from one of the press conferences from the government later moving forward. How much does Oski review cost for overseas? So our Oski review is definitely of no difference from those who are onshore and offshore. So it is 3,500. And I know that I did promise that there's no marketing here, but it did come up as a question. So it's 3,500. You will get 4 components of the review. So one is your online online classes, which is your virtual face-to-face, and the next one is that you'll get a workbook that you need to attend to, and there are some activities there that you actually need to comply. And then you'll have your face-to-face as part of the program. And then you will also have your briefing, debriefing sessions, your dry run, I think, which is very important for you. You'll actually have the feel of the real Oski.
That's my favorite tractor when I was a baby.
Yeah, it's just my son is asking if it's his favorite tractor when he was a baby. He's 4 years old. All right. Karen, did I miss a part of our program?
Yes, definitely. It has been discussed as well, everything. Carissa, as usual. Yeah, Carissa, I think already mentioned about the 2 weeks of online. And our program has 4 components, not only the online class, we have workbook activities for you, which is very, very important. And we have also our, apart from the online class, we have the face-to-face. So that is also part of the 4 components of your preparation class. So before you come to class, actually you're already equipped, because our learners portal already has the content of the solid nursing knowledge you need to know about the skill. So once you go to your online class and to your face-to-face, it's more of polishing for you to pass your test.
That's exactly right, Karen. Thank you so much. Yeah, the learners portal. So we know that, when you go through your Oski, you already pass your Nclex, and we understand and we value your knowledge that you already know to, say, for example, Glasgow Comma Scale. We already know that you know what is a GCS, what are the components of GCS. So we have discussed that in the learners portal. But what is valuable to you is when you go to your class, what is valuable to you is actually those scenarios, and also the skills that you really need to do when it comes to GCS for you to be able to pass Oski. So this is what we're going to discuss in your online class. And when you go to your face-to-face, it's actually polishing already. You actually know the skill. So we don't really want to waste your time by, talking about, okay, let's talk about iResponse. What is the score of these? What is the score of that? Because we already know that you know how to do a GCS. And if you don't know, you need to review because you passed Nclex. But if you don't really know, go to the learners portal. But what we really do in our online classes is to give you a lot of scenarios that may possibly come out in Oski. So, because we want to value your time and we want to value what you really need for you to be able to pass. So, and the face-to-face sessions, by the way, just before you enroll to any face-to-face, just also make sure as to how many face-to-face interactions you will be getting. I know that a lot of students value the hands-on experience. So for any TA, we do have face-to-face for 10 days. And on top of that, you will be receiving dry run sessions as well. With COVID at the moment, we are delivering it virtual face-to-face, but definitely if we will have the time to those who don't have the test dates yet, you will still get your 10 days of face-to-face plus your virtual face-to-face. So that's actually an additional point for you. So I hope I answered that question. What visa type should we get in order to take Oski exam? So I think I did touch on this already. So hopefully, so I said, based on my experience, it is a tourist visa. Let's see when the borders open at 80% of vaccination. For sure, it will still be the same. For more information, you can actually check with the Department of Home Affairs. How does NETA review program goes for overseas reviewee like me for Oski? I'm interested for Oski review, but I am not sure if I would start now because I don't know when will I get the exam date. So our Oski, actually, you will have access to all of the resources. And the only thing that you can't access is a face-to-face. And once you're here, your 6 months of access will start. So once you are overseas, the access is there unlimited for you. Once you come to Australia, that's the time that we count your 6 months of access with us. So I would say grab the opportunity. The best time for you to actually review for Oski is now, because there are so many skills that you need to familiarize. And we always talk about muscle memory, just like saying, hi, how are you? It just comes out. And that's because we always use it. So also in your Oski, it will come out innate of you if you master it, if you practice every day. So the best time for you to review is now, because our main aim is for you to pass your Oski. And I know that that's also your aim. I'm interested, sorry, how often is Oski exam conducted in a year or month normally? I won't say the normally because APRA just conducted that this year and we never know what it is like next year. But for this year, they did conduct February, April, June, and September, and then there was one November. So 5 Oski sessions for APRA. And I'm not sure for next year because it could change as well, because you know how life will be very different next year when there is 80% of vaccination.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Harman. I have just one concern.
Yes.
So, for example, if like I'm just giving my own example, like I'm in the temporary residency at the moment.
Yes.
For example, if I never done the Nclex yet, just for the reschedule due to the COVID. So, for example, if we done the Nclex and unfortunately if our visa is finished like it temporary, so still we need to get the any other visa, or the APRA provide us for Oski any other visa to us?
So APRA will not provide the visa. They are definitely a different agency. So they are a regulation body. So with APRA, they will only give you an evidence to support a visa application. So you need to go to the Department of Home Affairs and actually do your application there for your visa.
So what's the process if the overseas done the Nclex and they want to come for the Oski? So which visa they get? Then APRA never give like anything.
Yeah, so as I said, we do not give advice to what visa, but based on our experience. So this is just based on our experience, and it could be different from yours, Harman. So it really depends on what is your circumstance, but majority will get the tourist visa, and some of them actually do study further because they also want to study more, get more qualifications. So some of the students get student visa as well. So it really depends on your circumstance as to what is your plan for the future.
Because I just think about like previous we having a bridging course. So for that, usually they give a visa, so they come as a tourist and no work right on that time, and they did the bridging course on that time. So I'm just think on same thing
And
in
I
the
would
Oski
say, I did the bridging course, and a lot of classmates that I have that I know did the tourist visa business stream.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problems. How will we be taking face-to-face classes while we are offshore? So while you're offshore, we have a virtual face-to-face. And once you come here to take your, sorry guys, it's my son. Once you come here for your Oski, we will also give you the face-to-face. This is work from home, so you've got your children with you. And this is my son, by the way, if you can see him. I'm in the Philippines and will do Oski review. For offshore reviewer of Oski, will you provide additional review just before the exam once we arrive in Australia? Definitely. So that's what I was saying. So we will be giving your face-to-face, and all of our candidates who are actually with us, we do have an Oski dry run. So you will have different stations with you, and then you will also have different educators one-on-one, and we will be giving you feedback as well as to, and we really give it like a simulated Oski. We give you a result that will say pass or fail. And if you are failed, then unlike the real Oski, they won't give you a feedback as to why you failed. But for us, we give you a feedback as to where you can improve. So you will pass next time. I think that's all. Is there any other question?
Hello, ma'am. Sorry.
Yes, Grace.
Hi, good morning po. I didn't hear the answer po for the overseas candidate. How long does it take po before you get the exam date for the Oski? If you have an idea.
So I think my answer a while ago is that we would never know, but things will change when we have the 80% vaccination rate. So at the moment, the priority of the Oski exam dates are given to the lower risk states in Australia. So those who are in South Australia, those who are in Brisbane, those who are in Tasmania, Western Australia, Northern Territory are given the first priority. So as to how long it will take, sorry, Grace, I hope I have the crystal ball actually to say, but things are very uncertain at the moment. What I would say that is certain is that by the time that we hit the 80%, which the government says about November, December, probably, everything will change. So the borders will be open. So hopefully you'll get your test dates by then. So there's a question between 32 to 37,000. I think Harman is saying about the conversion program. Hi, just curious, how many examinees do APRA schedule per Oski exam? I would say that if we refer back to the handbook, they said that there are about 40. It could change as well, depending if there are no candidates, then probably that would be lesser than that. But if there are more candidates and if they have the capacity, they will also increase. That's something that APRA can actually answer. But as per the handbook, it says 40. Do I take my preparation classes first and do my portfolio? Your portfolio actually takes less than a day. So if you do it together, that's fine, but your portfolio is only less than a day if you have your documents with you, and that is your proof of identity and your qualifications, and it has to be certified. So you can do your preparation alongside with your portfolio or even your orientation. You can do them in one day. Are we going to pay 3,500 as one time? Please do contact Netta because we do have payment options as well available for you. And the payment options will depend on your circumstance as well. So we are happy to help students. And again, our main aim here is for you to pass your test. And that's definitely something that we can help you when it comes to your payment plans. All right, guys, I think we have come to the end of the conversation. If there is any other question, I'm happy to stay for 5 more minutes. So thank you, everyone, and we will keep in touch. Please follow our Facebook page so you can get updated with the current updates when it comes to vaccinations and when it comes to the border of Australia. And also, if you'd like to get inspired, because we have made a lot of registered nurses already. So thank you very much for your participation. And yeah, give us a call or send us an email or send us a messenger. Thanks, everyone.